Hi, I'm Hazel Secco, CFP, CDFA, and I run Aligned Financial Solutions, a firm for women's financial independence. So today, I'm gonna walk you through 3 things. 1, why this window exists structurally, and why this is uniquely available to you, specifically, the women who accumulated wealth in her working years. 2, the 3 questions that tell you whether a Roth conversion belongs on your calendar this year or next year or never. 3, the 3 mistakes I see women in your exact position make with Roth conversions. Mistakes that turn a smart decision into an expensive one. Let's get into it. Quick note on who this episode is for. If you're a woman in your 40s or 50s, this episode is for you. If you're in your 30s, this episode is still useful, but the urgency is different. File it for later. For everyone else, stay with me. This is the one. Here's the structural picture. When you're working, your tax bracket is high. When you're 73 and beyond, required minimum distributions kick in. The IRS forces you to pull a specific percentage of your pre-tax account out every year, and you pay ordinary income tax on every dollar of it. Now, look at what's in the middle. The years from the day you stop working to the year you turn 73. That's the window. In those years, 3 things are true simultaneously. 1, you've stopped earning W-2 income, so your tax bracket just dropped. 2, you haven't started Social Security yet. 3, RMDs haven't started. It's the gold decade. A Roth conversion is the act of deliberately pulling money out of your pre-tax account during that low bracket window, paying the tax on it today at that lower rate, and moving it to a Roth IRA where it grows tax-free for the rest of your life. If you don't do conversions in that window, your pre-tax accounts keep compounding. By the time you're 73, your RMDs are calculated on that bigger number, which pushes you into a higher bracket. The window is the one chance you have to interrupt that cascade before it starts. Not every woman in that window should do conversions. Some should do them aggressively, some should do them modestly, a few should not do them at all. Here are the 3 questions that tell you which one you are. Question 1. What bracket are you in today, and what bracket do you project to be in at age 73? This is the math. It's not hard math, it's arithmetic, but it requires honesty. If your current marginal bracket is 24% and your projected bracket at age 73, once RMDs, Social Security, and pension are all stacked, is 32% or higher, you're paying tax now at a lower rate than the rate you'd be forced to pay later. If your current bracket is 32% and your projected bracket at 73 is 24%, which happens if you're still in peak earning years, and your retirement income stack will actually be modest, conversion is not the move. You'd be paying more tax now than you'd pay later. The mistake most people make is assuming I'll be in a lower bracket in retirement. For a woman with $1.5 million or more in pre-tax accounts, that assumption is usually wrong. RMDs at that account size typically lift your bracket in retirement. They don't lower it. Question 2, who inherits this money? If your kids will inherit your IRA, here's what the Secure Act did in 2020. They have 10 years to pull it all out. 10 years, which means those 10 years typically overlap with your kids' peak earning years, their 40s and 50s, when they're in the highest brackets of their working lives. So a $2 million traditional IRA inherited by a daughter in her late 40s, who's already in the 32% bracket, is not $2 million to her. It's $2 million spread across 10 years of forced distributions, taxed at her bracket, which means she effectively receives something closer to $1.3 to $1.4 million after tax. If you convert that IRA to Roth during your gold decade window, paying tax at your lower bracket, your daughter inherits a Roth IRA. She still has to pull it out in 10 years, but every dollar she pulls out is tax-free. The inheritance math can move the needle even for women who on their own are borderline on whether to convert. Question 3, do you have cash outside of retirement accounts to pay the conversion tax? This is the hidden question. When you do a Roth conversion, you owe federal and state income tax on the amount converted, and it's due the April after the conversion year. If you pay that tax from the IRA itself by withholding a chunk of conversion to cover the tax, you've just shrunk the amount that actually makes it into the Roth. A Roth conversion only works cleanly if you can pay the tax from a taxable brokerage account, a money market, a savings account, money that's already been taxed. If you don't have that cash outside of retirement, the answer isn't don't convert. The answer is convert smaller amounts over more years and rebuild a taxable cushion alongside it. That's a planning conversation, not a one-time decision. Most women I work with get to pillar 2 and say, okay, I can do the math. I'm in. Let's convert. That's where the mistakes start. So mistake number 1, converting too much in 1 year. This is the most common one. A woman sees the window, gets excited, and converts $500,000 in a single year. That $500,000 gets added on top of any other income she has that year. It lifts her into the top bracket, lifts her Medicare premiums through IRMAA, sometimes 2 years because IRMAA looks back at a 2-year-old tax return, can phase her out of certain deductions. The cleaner move is almost always to convert an amount that fills up to a specific bracket, not one that spills into the next one. For most women in my client base, that means converting the amount that takes her to the top of the 24% bracket and stops every year for 10 to 15 years. Steady, deliberate, inside the bracket. That's not as exciting, but it's more effective. Mistake number 2. Ignoring Medicare IRMAA. IRMAA stands for Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. It's a surcharge on your Medicare Part B and Part D premiums that kicks in when your modified adjusted gross income goes above certain thresholds. And it's calculated on a 2-year look back, which means the Roth conversion you do at age 62 affects your Medicare premium at age 64 and 65. And because it's a cliff, not a phase in, you can go over $1 a threshold and pay hundreds of dollars more per month per person for the entire year. Conversions done between ages 63 and 72 have to be IRMAA aware, or you can optimize your income tax and simultaneously get slapped with a surcharge that eats the savings. Mistake number 3, converting when you shouldn't convert at all. Some women shouldn't do conversions, period. If you're a high income earner still in your peak working years and expect to retire at a materially lower bracket, wait. If you have almost all of your wealth in pre-tax accounts and no taxable cash to pay the tax, address that first. If you have a large unrealized capital loss you plan to harvest in a specific year, coordinate. If you're planning to donate a significant portion of your IRA to charity at death, via a qualified charitable distribution or a charitable remainder trust, Roth conversion doesn't help. Charitable distributions from a traditional IRA are already tax-free to the charity. Conversion is not universally correct. It's a specific tool for a specific situation. The women it's correct for are usually the ones I described at the top of the episode. $1.5 million and over in pre-tax, 5 to 15 years from retirement, moderate to low taxable cash, kids likely to inherit. If that's you, you have a decision to make, and the window is open right now. If that's not you, follow this episode and come back to it when the window opens for you. The hardest part about the Roth conversion decision is not the math. The hardest part is the feeling of writing a tax check on purpose. Every cell in your body, every instinct you developed building this wealth is telling you, don't give the IRS money until they force you to. That instinct is what built your balance. It's also the thing that if you don't overwrite it in the right window, will hand the IRS significantly more money later. The window is open. It won't stay open forever. 2 things you can do after this episode. First, if you want to know where you actually stand on this and every other retirement decision that matters between now and the day you retire, I built a free self-paced retirement readiness assessment. Link is in the show notes. Second, if after that assessment, you want to talk to me directly about what a conversion schedule could look like for your specific account, the Align call is 15 minutes. Link is right next to the assessment link. Next episode, we go to the second decision in this window, when to claim Social Security and why the math is different for women. See you there.